Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanama. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. Voting day begins in the United States with Republican candidate Donald Trump and Democrat candidate Kamala Harris vying to become the next president. Kaski District Court remands former Home Minister and chairperson of Rashtra Swatantra Party Ravi Lamichan by 10 days as police investigation on his alleged involvement in cooperatives case continues. Flood and landslide victims of Kaveri yet to receive relief despite almost 3 billion rupees in government disaster fund. Home Ministry estimates losses in 8 districts to be 14 billion. And 8 teams in the Nepal Premier League signed 28 foreign cricketers so far. 4 spots for foreign players left. Namibia's all-rounder Lofty Eaton to play from Chitwan Rhinos. It is election day in the United States. Many Americans have already cast their votes in early voting in person or by mail. Others are voting in person at registered polling booths today. Here are a few facts on the U.S. election system. The U.S. does not have a centralized election system. They are conducted by local authorities within each state. These authorities adhere to local, state and federal laws as well as being guided by the U.S. Constitution. Hence, election rules vary among states. In 2020, more than 10,000 local entities administered elections in the U.S. No one is required by law to cast a vote in the country. The U.S. does not have a system of online voting, and voters are assigned polling locations within each district. These locations are generally public buildings such as convention centers, libraries, schools, and community centers. In these locations, voters enter private polling booths to fill out their ballots. Some jurisdictions provide ballot marking devices, BMDs, that allow voters to cast their votes on a digital device. The device then produces a paper record of the vote. About 25% of registered voters live in jurisdictions that use BMDs for all voters. A small number of voters cast their votes using a direct recording electronic DRE voting system, with which voters press a button or touchscreen to cast their votes, which then go directly into the computer system. There is no federal system of counting votes, and the vote count is left up to the states. Hand-marked paper ballots and ballots marked by BMDs are typically counted using optical scanners and then tabulated digitally to obtain a final tally. Different states have different methods of recounting and verifying the final count. The president is not elected directly by the popular vote, but instead by the Electoral College. Under this system, each state has the same number of electors in the Electoral College as its number of seats in the U.S. House of Representatives and Senate. The U.S. has a total of 538 electors who are appointed by the parties and are almost always party officials or supporters. To win, a candidate needs 270 Electoral College votes. These electors will meet on December 17 this year to cast a vote for president and vice president. Americans are heading to the polls in a mood of discontent and division, with opinion polls showing nearly 2/3 of voters believe the country has been heading in the wrong direction under President Joe Biden. While the U.S. economy is the envy of the industrialized world, emerging from COVID shutdowns with strong job growth and wage increases, many Americans complain those gains were gobbled up by high grocery and housing prices. At this backdrop, the two top contenders, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, are head-to-head. American voters will face a clear choice for president on election day between Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris and Republican Donald Trump. Here's a look at what they stand for and how their policies compare on different issues. Harris has said her day-one priority would be trying to reduce food and housing costs for working families. She promises to ban price gouging on groceries, help first-time home buyers, increase housing supply and raise the minimum wage. Trump has promised to end inflation and make America affordable again, and when asked, he says more drilling for oil will lower energy costs. He has promised to deliver lower interest rates, something the president does not control, and he says deporting undocumented immigrants will ease pressure on housing. Economists, however, warn that his vow to impose higher tax on imports could push up prices. Harris wants to raise taxes on big businesses and Americans, while Trump proposes a number of tax cuts worth trillions, including an extension of his 2017 cuts, which mostly helped the wealthy. Harris has made abortion rights central to her campaign. She continues to advocate for legislation that would enshrine reproductive rights nationwide. Trump has struggled to find a consistent message on abortion. The 3 judges he appointed to the Supreme Court while president were pivotal in overturning the constitutional right to an abortion, a 1973 ruling known as Roe v. Wade. As for foreign policy, Harris has vowed to support Ukraine for as long as it takes and pledged, if elected, to ensure the US and not China wins the competition for the 21st century. She has been a long-time advocate for a 2-state solution between the Israelis and Palestinians and has called for an end to the war in Gaza. Trump has an isolationist foreign policy and wants the US to disentangle itself from conflicts elsewhere in the world. He has said he would end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours through a negotiated settlement with Russia, a move that Democrats say would embolden Vladimir Putin. Trump has positioned himself as a staunch supporter of Israel, but said little on how he would end the war in Gaza. Harris, as vice president, helped pass the Inflation Reduction Act, which has funneled hundreds of billions of dollars to renewable energy and electrical vehicle tax credit and rebate programs. But she has dropped her opposition to fracking, a technique for recovering gas and oil opposed by environmentalists. Trump, while in the White House, rolled back hundreds of environmental protections, including limits on carbon dioxide emissions from power plants and vehicles. Harris has made preventing gun violence a key pledge, and she and Tim Walz, both gun owners, often advocate for tighter laws. But expanding background checks or banning assault weapons will need the help of Congress. Trump has positioned himself as a staunch defender of the Second Amendment, the constitutional right to bear arms. Whoever triumphs in the election, Trump or Vice President Kamala Harris, will inherit the legacy of a Biden administration that made good on some promises, saw others swept off course by events, and others still only partially fulfilled. Kaski District Court has remanded former Home Minister and Chairperson of Rashtra Swatantra Party RSP Ravi Lamichan by 10 days as Kaski police continue investigation on his alleged involvement in mishandling cooperative money and for money laundering, among others. Lamichan was presented at the court today. Lamichan had been arrested from his party office on 18th of October. The single bench of Judge Chandrakant Podal allowed Kaski police to extend his custody by 10 days to continue with the investigations as the police demanded for 25 days extension. Along with Lamichan, the former DIG and chairperson of Gorkha Media Network, vice chairperson in fact, Chabilal Joshi, Leela Pachai and Ram Bahadur Khanal were also remanded in custody for 10 more days. This is the third time the period has been extended. The date is extended up to 9th of November. The previous extension of custody had ended on 30th of October. However, Lamichan was kept in custody due to Tihar holiday. The District Police Kaski has been carrying out the investigation with the support of Central Investigation Bureau (CIB). The Bureau and the investigating team are looking into Lamichan's transactions, including any amount sent to his relatives abroad. Meanwhile, police administration used tear gas today as supporters of Lamichan attempted to enter and stage protests in prohibited area in Pokhara. Cadres of RSP had begun protests before Lamichan was presented at the court. Now, around 3 billion rupees amount has been collected in the Disaster Relief Fund. However, victims of flood and landslides have shared grievances of not receiving relief. 1,877.7 million rupees has been collected in the Prime Minister Disaster Relief Fund up until now. The Disaster Management Fund under the Home Ministry also has over 1 billion rupees. The amount comes after government appealed to rehabilitate the affected from different political parties, government offices, non-governmental organizations and different donors. Premier Oli has stated that more than 2 billion rupees will be provided for the rehabilitation of the victims of disasters. However, the 1 billion rupees that was planned to release is yet to happen. Meanwhile, Ministry of Home Affairs has said 430 million rupees has been already sent to affected families through District Disaster Management Fund. Families of the deceased have been given 200,000 rupees each. The displaced family with less than 5 members have been given 15,000 rupees each, and those with more than 5 members 20,000. The government has declared 71 local levels of 20 districts as crisis-ridden. Meanwhile, flood victims of Kavri, Panoti area have said they have been deprived of relief due to delay in data collection by the local level. Due to the inefficiency of the local level, victims are yet to receive the relief amount for temporary residence and food material, among others. Victims of flood and landslides could not enjoy the recent festivities as they are compelled to spend the days in makeshift arrangements. As Ministry of Home Affairs collected data from 8 flood-affected districts, it has been estimated that the losses incurred amounts to 14 billion rupees. The survey has also highlighted negligence of District Administration Office that led to the death of 35 in Chaplekola, Dhading. The feeble implementation of the government's prohibition in vehicle operation during night time has been attributed to the scale of losses. Concerned ministries report that the full detail of the incident is yet to be received. The Ministry of Home Affairs had categorized 9 local levels as highly affected, 12 as moderately affected, and 50 as slightly affected. The highly affected areas have been sent 10 million rupees, moderately affected 7.5 million, while slightly affected areas have been sent 5 million rupees.
आवासदेखि लिएर पुलहरू समेतको गर्दाखेरि हामीसँग अहिलेसम्म 14 अरब बराबरको क्षति भएको चाहिँ विवरणहरू प्राप्त भएको छ। त्यो विवरणमा केही सम्बन्धित मन्त्रालयहरू क्षेत्रगत तहबाट पनि फेरि थप क्षतिको विवरण पनि सङ्कलन भइरहेको छ। यो क्षतिको विवरण चाहिँ केही बढ्न सक्ने सम्भावना पनि छ। अस्थायी आवासको लागि जिल्ला विपद व्यवस्थापन समितिसँग मार्फत चाहिँ पीडित परिवारहरूलाई चाहिँ राहत उपलब्ध गराउन पनि आवश्यकता अनुसार जिल्लाको माग अनुसार हामीले रकमहरू पठाइरहेको अवस्था पनि छ।
As per the reports of the Ministry of Home Affairs, 50 million rupees has been distributed for temporary housing of the displaced families, while 50 million has been distributed in relief. The cooperation of the local level is a must for the rehabilitation of the affected.
75 लाख रुपैयाँ छ त्यसको नि एउटा शेड्युल बनाएर ड्राफ्ट पठाएको छ। यसमा चाहिँ तत्काल अब बाटाघाटा शिक्षा स्वास्थ्य सबै कुरा आछन्। सँगसँगै उनीहरूलाई दिनुपर्ने राहत क्षतिपूर्ति त्यो निकै ठुलो कुरो भएकाले यसलाई हामीले अब त्यसले सामान्य सरकारले हेर्यो एड्रेस गर्यो भन्ने मात्रै हो, तर त्यसलाई हामीले व्यवस्था चाहिँ गर्ने हो र पुरानै अवस्था ल्याउने हो भने हामीले अझै करोडौं खर्च चाहिँ गर्नुपर्ने माग्नुपर्ने संघ सरकारलाई त्यो परिस्थिति देखिन्छ।
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Before today's question, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday we'd asked you, what suggestion do you have for communist parties that boast of unity during speeches but keep splitting in reality? 33% voted for option A, let go of personal ego, 28% for B, respect people's mandate, and 39% for C, stop putting up an ideological mask. Here's today's question. What is the reason for the delay in rehabilitation of disaster victims despite almost 3 billion rupees in the government disaster fund? Your options are A, procedural hassle, B, not in priority, and C, government still collecting data. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Now, in our Public Voice segment, we've asked in several provinces what should be done to ensure the trust of public on health insurance. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
बीमाले कभर गर्ने औषधिहरू चाहिँ पर्याप्त रूपमा चाहिँ वितरण गर्न सक्नु पर्यो।
पढ्न लेख्न नजान्ने मान्छेलाई पनि कुना-कुनामा यो प्रचार प्रसार पुर्याएर अरु प्रभावकारी बनाउन सकिन्छ।
1 लाख बराबरको बिमा हुन्छ हैन, सानो परिवार छ भने पनि त्यो कुरा चाहिँ अलिकति बुझाउन सक्दाखेरि चाहिँ बिमा गर्ने अलिकति प्रभावकारी हुन्छ कि
ग्रामीण इलाकामा जसका लागि यो स्वास्थ्य बिमा चाहिने हो उनीहरुले यो बारेमा अनभिज्ञ रहेको अवस्था छ। त्यसकारण यसको प्रचार प्रसार पनि हुनुपर्छ।
स्वास्थ्य बिमालाई रिन्यू गराउँदाखेरि हामीले त्यो एजेन्डा हुन्छ कि अथवा त्यहाँको को मेम्बर उलाई भने पैसा दियो जम्मा गर्यो अनि त्यो 1 महिना ढिलो पठाइदिने अनि हामी त्यहाँ जाँदाखेरि तपाईको इन्टी भएको छैन यहाँ भन्दिने अनि हामीलाई धोका हुने काम भइरहेछ। त्यसलाई कसरी सुधार गर्ने?
We've got more news coming up, but right now it's time for yet another short break.
Sports news.
Teams in the Nepal Premier League that is drawing close has been signing foreign cricketers one after the other. 8 clubs are allowed to sign 32 foreign players in total. So far, 28 foreign cricketers have been signed with just 4 spots remaining. Today, Chitwan Rhino signed all-rounder Jan Nicole Lofty-Eaton. He is the 4th foreign player to be recruited by the team and the 26th overall to be signed to NPL. The 23-year-old left-hand batsman had on February broken Kushal Malla's record of T20I fastest century. He is in the 2nd position at the moment. Earlier, Chitwan had signed Marcin de Lange, Luke Martin, Benkenstein and Hassan Isahil. Viratnagar also signed fast bowler Chris Saul today after having signed New Zealand's Martin Guptill. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.